Welcome to another video on TOS News.
So what were the reasons Black Africans were taken to be such a threat to non-Black people? The first reason is the notion of physical superiority of Black people. As everyone knows that Black Africans have exceptional strength, non-Blacks were certain that they would stand no chance if Black Africans were allowed to participate in the war for power, as they would undoubtedly dominate. The easiest way for European colonizers to take Africans out of the power equation was to promote the agenda that Black Africans were physically stronger and hence more suited for labor-intensive tasks, in order to justify the enslavement of millions of African people and their forced labor on plantations and other industries. The idea that physical jobs were inferior while being weak and delicate was a desirable trait for intellectual superiority was definitely favorable for the European colonizers, who even devised more brutal punishment for enslaved people, considering that they were less sensitive to pain. The second reason was the fear of genetic annihilation. Non-Black people knew that if Blacks were allowed to marry into their society, their submissive genes would eventually be wiped out, and Black genes would dominate over time. This was a massive threat even after the slaves were stripped of their basic human rights by following the black blood drop strategy, where anyone with even one drop of black blood was isolated and clubbed together with other Black people. However, in Latin America and Arab, there are records of people marrying their Black slaves, while their children enjoyed the same rights as other citizens. Keep watching till the end to debunk the myths about the West being the origins of humans and the center of the world. The third reason is that Africa was the cradle of civilization. Both history and science have left no doubt that the first humans emerged in Africa. It was unacceptable to non-Blacks that not only did Black Africans prosper before any other race existed, but most Asians and Europeans developed from Black people. This was backed by genetic analysis which showed that Europeans and Northwest Africans share a genetic similarity of 4 to 20%. The fact that they themselves were the successors of Black people, whom they had been calling backward and primitive for centuries, directly challenges their beloved idea that Europe was the center of the world and shattered their illusions of superiority. And lastly, there is the fact that Africa is the richest continent on Earth in terms of resources. Precious natural resources like gold, gas, diamond, silver, and many other metals were found in Africa in excessive amounts. The writings of Arabs like Al-Fazari paint African society as a phenomenal marvel of wealth and prosperity, which was unacceptable for the non-Blacks. Hence, using the myth of Black people having less cognitive prowess, Europeans exploited the natural resources of Africa for their own benefit. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni revealed that even today France holds 50% of the gold that is rightfully owned by African nations, printing money for these countries in return and essentially reaping unethical benefits for this unequal bargain. Racism and prejudice have perpetrated stereotypes of Black people as violent and aggressive, and understanding this perception requires a nuanced understanding of history and culture. Under the influence of woke culture, there are token Black representatives in media and corporate worlds. But are people willing to give African Blacks their rightful place in society? Comment below and let us know what you think.